winner. And welcome to the Intuitive Entrepreneur Show, where you take enlightened entrepreneurs, coaches, and influencers together to discuss cutting-edge topics in the world of relationships, culture, business, and spirituality. And here's your host, Miss Carol Boston.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Intuitive Entrepreneur Show. Once again, I'm so excited to be here with you. It is the first Wednesday of the month, and that means you get me. You have to come another week when you want to see a guest. I was just telling Aruba, the producer of this show, that I just started dog sitting today, was rushing around to get moved in here before the show, and I'm sitting right on the New River. It is gorgeous. Outdoor deck, outdoor pool, right on the New River. I can't wait to be able to spend some time out there. I'm hoping to catch a fish. First, I got to find a rod and a reel. But I love to catch fish. That's something you don't know about me. Now, I don't know what to do with them after I catch them. So I try real hard to get them off the hook really quick and throw them back in the water so they can live. But, I'm your weather girl if you've been following me at all. So it is a gorgeous, hot, the thermometer outside said it's almost 100 degrees in the shade. So when you comment here, let me know what the weather's like where you are and where you're chiming in from. Lots has been going on. I just let Aruba know just the other day that I have been chosen to do a TEDx talk in November, on November the 7th at Lynn University in Boca Raton, Florida. I am super, super excited about that. And one of the things we're going to be chatting a little bit about today is some of the stuff that came up in a talk that I gave last week. I also was hired to do a keynote last week at an event for women in corporate America. And it's called the Sharp Heels, not Stilettos, Sharp Heels event. Now, I spoke at this event last year. And when I was hired, she said, I'll send you over the deck. And I thought for a minute, the deck? So she sends me this PowerPoint on leadership. And I kind of looked at it and I thought, you can get this crap from Google. This is not what I teach and the value I bring to the table. So I sent her a message and I said, may I make a few changes? And she comes back and she's like, well, yeah, but not too many. We want it to be uniform. We're doing this in 20 cities across the country. And then I remembered something that I had a very, very difficult time learning when I was in corporate America. And that was, don't ask for permission. It's much easier to ask for forgiveness. So I just decided I'm going to do my talk on leadership. And I sent her back an email. I said, I'll just leave the deck like it is. So when I got up to speak last year, they didn't have a lavalier mic to sit on my collar. I had never used a deck, so I'm not used to a clicker. And you probably don't know me well enough yet, but I'm not a stand behind a podium or hold a big old fat handheld mic girl. That's what I got to do, though. A fat mic, a clicker, and my notes. Now, as I opened up the talk, I noticed that at one part of the event, they called me a business coach. Another part of the event, on the written agenda, they called me a leadership coach. And then they said I was going to be talking about branding. Somebody who's running that event gets to check the agenda. So I opened up my talk with, if you're here to learn about branding, you are in the wrong room. Because all I'm going to tell you about branding is what people say to you, or what the people say about you when you're not in the room. What does your brand say? What do people say about you when you're not in the room? Something to consider, both personally and professionally. So from that talk last year, I got I got hired to give a keynote at Ryder Trucking and Logistics, about a $9 billion company here in the United States, huge organization. And I now have 2 other opportunities this year to be hired for speaking engagements at Ryder. So this particular event, and there's a point to my story, it doesn't pay very much for me to go speak there compared to what I get at other keynotes, but they always put good people in the room. If you're out there and you're using speaking to help grow your business, one of the things you get to do is look to see who's in the audience. Not only was this senior VP of Ryder Trucking in the audience last year, there were senior VPs from Carnival Cruise Lines there as well. And I'm still in touch with them. It has not translated into business yet, but it got me in front of them, people that I probably wouldn't have gotten in front of on my own. Same thing this year. I have a conversation tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock with a huge health organization for speaking engagements in 2024 from that event. Now, what's interesting was this lady who hired me wasn't there at the event. Obviously didn't watch the video, right? Didn't watch the video, but got good feedback on my talk. So literally 10 days before the event, she reaches out to me and wants to hire me again. Now, my best friend said, "Ooh, maybe the person she hired the first time dropped out." Right? I was second choice. Turns out I was not. I was first choice. She's just behind the 8 ball to kick off this next 20 city series because she's got some other things going on in her business. So that's my first takeaway to give you today. Go speak where other people's putting butts in the seat. The onus isn't on you. The responsibility is not on you, not going to cost you anything. And they may not pay you as much to speak. And here's another thing. If you're not using speaking to grow your business, you're missing out on a big opportunity. What could the results possibly be if you're speaking to 25, 50, 100 or more people at a time versus always speaking one-to-one, one-to-one? Now, don't get me wrong. I love networking and I network a lot. And I really love in-person networking, right? I'm the shake your hand, give you a hug girl. Love it. But there's some things that we get to look at. So one of the other unique things that happened at this event last Thursday was when all was said and done, a young lady comes up to me. I call her a young lady because I'm turning 64 in 2 weeks from tomorrow. So pretty much everybody's younger than me in these rooms. And she said to me, "I want to say thank you for just being so comfortable and so open about your relationship with God." I mean, you guys know I'm faith-based. I talk about stories all the time. And she said it was just so comfortable for you to talk about God like he was a friend. And your closing statement on the panel, I also moderated a panel. My closing statement, the thought I left people with, you've heard me say it here before, unless this is your first time here. And I said, your job is to trust in the process and take the next step. That I believe God only gave me a lamplight for my feet because my job is just to take the next step. Trust me, if God had shown me the whole picture of what I would go through these last 5 years to grow my business, I would have quit. I would have quit. Hands down, no way I'm going through all that, right? It's too much shit. Especially for someone who didn't start off wanting to be an entrepreneur. God closed every other door to get me on this path. Which brings me to a new word that I learned called kairos. Look it up, Kairos. And what was really interesting is there's another coach. She's been in business a lot longer than me. She's got an 8-figure business, right? Well, she has 6 businesses actually, and she wants to grow her portfolio to $100 million to a 9-figure company. Very, very business oriented. Is putting out something new, a new program, and all of a sudden it was called Kairos. I'd never heard the word before, but that very morning, my best friend from where? LSU, Baton Rouge, Florida, my alma mater, had sent me something on Kairos. And today I attended Kelly's Kairos training, one day of 1 of 3. And Kairos is about that opportune moment in time, that life-changing moment in time. And I took a note. Let me see here that I wanted to share with you to better explain it. Stand by. I took lots of notes. It was really good. She said, it was in Galatians. I believe it was in Galatians 6:9. And it says, let us not become weary in doing good, for in the proper time, I will reap the harvest. And she says the proper time is the Kairos moment. It's like the God-ordained Kairos moment in time when everything comes together. Who's ready for some moments that come together? I am. For sure. You know, and this show is about cutting edge topics. And, spirituality is one of those, whether you look at spirituality versus religion. Maybe you're one of those people who say, I'm not religious, I'm just spiritual, or I hate religion. Let's face it, folks, religion was brought about because man has this, I'm putting this in air quotes, this need to be right. Right? We got to have Baptists so they can be right and make the Methodists wrong. We got to have Methodists and be right so they can make the Presbyterians wrong. Got to be Presbyterian, make the Catholics wrong. Oh my God. God did not create denominations. He created people and love, right? So where are you in that spectrum? And how willing are you to step up and take a stand? I have to tell you, when I watched this coach, whom I'm very familiar with, we actually spoke on the same stage last year at this time. Completely different person. And to hear what had kind of been going on in her business, she got sued. She said one day she went to the door 2 years ago and knocked on the door, and someone handed her a stack of papers this thick. And she was being sued by Entrepreneur Magazine because she had the name of entrepreneur in her business, and what she went through to fight it. And at that same time, she found out that one of her business partners was fraudulent, stealing from the company. At that same time, her right-hand person helping her run the organization quit and left disaster after disaster behind. Who can relate? We all have different problems at different times or different challenges, but for all of us, sometimes when it rains, it pours. Who's with me? Put it in the comments, right? When it rains, it pours. Or put it in hashtag replay if you're watching hashtag replay. One of the things I brought up in my talk last week at Sharp Heels, when someone had a question, is I said, the question is, what are you doing in the waiting room? They were talking about planting seeds, right? With their employees, their direct reports. This lady was talking about planting seeds. She was on a panel. And she says, you got to put the seeds in good soil. You got to put some water on them. You got to fertilize them. That's what you're doing with your employees. That's what you're doing with your direct reports, right? And I said, there's a saying that most of you have probably heard, seed time and harvest, right? Who's heard it? Most of the hands went up, seed time and harvest. I said, that's not true. There's seed time and then the harvest. The question is, and God watches what we're doing in the waiting room. What are you doing in the time that you get to wait? Are you complaining? Are you trying to find a way out? Are you chasing every shiny object trying to get an answer? Are you bemoaning, why is this taking so long? Why is this happening to me? Character is built in the waiting room. What are you doing? Right? Maybe you're waiting to get enough money to hire that coach or that mentor that can take you to the next level. One of the things she said earlier today is that leadership is so difficult that nobody can do it alone. She's an 8-figure company. She got coaches. You've heard me say it before. Oprah has coaches. Warren Buffett has coaches. Why is that? Because we're all in a jar and you can't read the label when you're inside the jar. We get to have somebody on the outside read our label, just like I read the label for my clients. And I help them write a new label so they can throw an anchor into their future and let go of that story that's holding them in the past. Now, since you get me today, one of the things my tribe loves is the Iyanla Vanzant book, Until Today. You've heard me say it. I probably had this book for 15 years. Only twice have I read it every single day and not missed a day in an entire year, 365 days. This year's not one of those years. But the theme for September is, I experience and express the power of trust because I'm worthy of my own trust. You don't have to know that you are doing the right thing. All you need to know is that you're doing what feels right for you. Trust what you feel and do it. How many of us could be more in touch with how we feel? I'm one of those people. I'm working on trusting my intuition, hearing it, listening, paying attention. You don't have to know that you are doing things in the right way. All you need to know is that you're doing the very best you can based on what feels right for you right now. Trust what you feel and do it. You don't have to know how to do things perfectly the first time around. All you need to know is that your intent and your actions are honorable and they're honest. That you're doing the very best you can based on what feels right for you. Trust what you feel and do it. How many of us are challenged in this area? How many of us, and I asked this last week and hands went up, how many of us will go solicit advice from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, who knows how many people before we make a decision? Indecision will cost you more than a poor decision every day of the week. Because a poor decision at least gets you into action. And when you're in action, you get results. And only when you have something can you measure, which are your results, do you have something that you can manage. You don't have to have the approval of your family, community, or elected officials. All you need to know is that you're doing what feels right for you with an honest and honorable intent to the best of your ability. Trust what you feel and do it. We're talking about indecision. Folks, yes is a decision. No is a decision. I'm trying. Let me think about it. I'll work on it. Those are not decisions. Those are not decisions. What is indecision costing you? Oftentimes, I told this story last week. I speak to a lot of women who say, oh, Carol, I know I could rise up in the ranks of my company or any other company faster if I just had an MBA. And when I ask them, well, what one thing is keeping you from getting your MBA then? They say, oh, it costs too much. No, it doesn't. An MBA doesn't cost you anything. It's an investment in you. You're investing back in you. The cost is what it's costing you to not have it. Same thing with not having a good coach. What's it costing you? It's costing you a lot. When you learn to trust what you feel, the feelings become clearer and the trust grows. Until today, you may have been waiting for the right time, the right way, and the approval of the right people before taking action. Just for today, trust what you feel and take action. Today, I'm devoted to trusting what I feel and taking the action that feels right for me right now. How many of us would love to trust ourselves more? We'd love to trust ourselves more. We often erode our own self-trust and we're not even aware that we're doing it. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But one of the things she talked about today, that there are 3 core conditions that must be present. One is congruence. This is where and she said people are often not in congruence because there is friction in the subconscious. And where there is friction, there is no growth. Are you in congruence? Are you in alignment with your values, your desires, your behaviors, your habits, your actions? She said the second core condition that is an absolute must is self-trust. She says self-trust is the ultimate catalyst for growth, and it allows you to operate beyond the blueprint. How many of us are operating within the blueprint? Somebody gave us a blueprint. Get an email list, send out this many emails, have this many follow-up emails, do your funnel like this. It's a blueprint that doesn't work for everybody. She said oftentimes in her experience, and she's raised up other 6, 7, and 8-figure businesses, not just her own. And she says oftentimes she has seen people, same strategy, same tactic, exact same blueprint. Some of them are wildly successful while others aren't successful hardly at all. She said it's because of the psychology of the mind. It's all up here. And she says it's not what you think. It's what you believe. She says self-leadership is not what I don't know that's causing me to abdicate my power and my leadership. It's not what I don't know. It's what I don't believe. Oh my goodness, that got me to thinking. Really, that's right in line with Napoleon Hill, right? Think and Grow Rich. What do you believe? Do you believe you're worthy? Do you believe that you're deserving? Do you believe that you're capable? It's who do you get to be as a leader? Are the behaviors I have today of the leader that I truly want to become? If I want to be a leader who makes $100,000 a month in my business, what type of leader is that? Who do I get to be? It's in our ways of being. We talked about it last week. Be, do, have leadership. At least here in America, very often I see that it's people say, how much can I have and what do I got to do to get it? And some of those folks will do anything to get it, even if it's not in alignment or congruence with what they say their values are. But when you're looking at servant leadership, and these are the leaders that rise to the top, the cream of the crop, they ask themselves, who do I get to be? What are my ways of being in order to do what I get to do so that I can have what I say I want? What are your top 3 ways of being in your leadership? I have a contract with myself. I am a powerful, courageous, loving leader. And I get to remind myself of that every day. I have it on a big whiteboard in big red ink so I don't forget. Because sometimes I forget. Sometimes things come across my desk for me to do, and I'm like, no, that's just too uncomfortable. And I'm not feeling courageous. Folks, we don't get to make decisions in our businesses based on how we feel. We get to make business decisions. So when those things happen for me and I look up and I see my poster board and it reminds me I'm a powerful, what? Courageous, loving leader. So even though I might not feel comfortable, I get to be what? Courageous. And when I remind myself of that, then I get to step into action, regardless of how I feel. There are those of you who know and those of you who don't know that I'm an ex-collegiate, yes ma'am, I'm an LSU Fighting Tiger and professional tennis player. And one of the steps I teach my clients is how to become a professional athlete in your business. Step number 1, professional athlete shows up every day to do the work no matter what they feel like. How many of us are making, oh, I don't feel like it today. Yeah, I feel like watching Netflix today. I feel like scrolling YouTube, TikTok. Perhaps I just want to veg out and watch Hallmark movies, right? The top leaders, the servant leaders, the ones who are making the biggest impact on the most lives in the world and in their business, don't make decisions based on just how they feel. Now that kind of goes right against what she said. Do what feels right for you. She's still talking about making a decision and getting into action. Here's the thing. Most people watching me right now, most people who are in this group, they want to make more money in their business, yes? Here's some writer downers for you. Money loves speed. The people who make the most money make decisions quickly, and they rarely, if ever, turn back on that decision. And they don't go asking 15 people if they should do it or how they should do it or what they should do. You hear that should word? Every time we're using that should word, I did that intentionally. It's about a make wrong. If I go ask you what I should do and you tell me and I decide not to do it, you can make me wrong and say, I told you should and you didn't. Should is one of those words I help my clients take out of their vocabulary. Money loves speed. Money loves intention. You do not own your goal. That big goal you have, I don't care if it's 100,000, it's a million, if it's 10 million, if it's a house on the hill, if it's a house on the lake, whatever the goal is, you don't own that goal because it is too far outside of you. What you own is your intention when you get up every day. Are you setting your intention? Money loves speed. Money loves intention. Money loves attention. How many of us are afraid to say money's my best friend? I love money and money loves me. Oh my God, all the crap that comes up with that, right? All the stigma, all the stuff that comes up with that. Money is just energy. It's a tool. But we've been raised up to believe all these things. Money is the root of all evil. No, that's not what the Bible says. The Bible says love of money for the sake of money, right? That's the root of all evil. Money's a multiplier, folks. If you're an asshole, you have a lot of money, you're going to be a bigger asshole. If you're kind and you're benevolent, you're philanthropic, you like to give to people and help people, you get more money, you're going to get to help more people. It's an amplifier. Money loves speed. Money loves intention. Money loves attention. Money loves clarity, and money loves specificity. Are your goals clear and specific? Are they? Would you like some help in that? Clarity is the very first thing I work with every single one of my clients on. My 6-month coaching program is not cookie cutter. It's customized. But the very thing everyone gets to do in the beginning is to get clarity on who they were truly created to be, so they can step into it and have the impact that they were created to have in this world. One quick example, and I work with my clients to develop I am statements. And some of these I am statements are very comfortable for my clients. And then some of them are quite uncomfortable. They're a stretch. Now, I don't make them stress, but stretch. So back in 2018, I guess, had a client, female family lawyer, been in business for 4 years, business not growing. They don't teach you how to run a business in law school, and they certainly don't teach you how to sell in law school. I've had great success working with female family lawyers. I had great success for 26 years in corporate America and sales, so I can help them, and I understand them. I get them, right? They don't want to feel salesy because they have a heart to take care of people. So one of her I am statements that we created for her was, I'm a powerful CEO of a fast-growing law firm. The first time I gave her that statement, she looked at me like I had lost my mind. I don't have a fast-growing law firm. Why the hell do you think I hired you? She said to me. So when the gap is too big, I give them a phrase, a special phrase I give my private clients to bridge that gap so that it's not a stress, it's a stretch. And they get to say these 10 to 12 I am statements morning and night, first thing before computer or phone, last thing at night after computer and phone before they go to bed. And I don't know if it was, 2.5, 3, 4 months down the road, she walks in my office one day and pounds her chest and she says, I'm a powerful CEO of a fast-growing law firm. Folks, she believed it. She stepped into who she was created to be. In those 6 months of working with me, part of her testimonial is I got more clients in 6 months of working with Carol than I had in the first 4 years of my practice. Part of that was owning what? Who she was created to be. She got clear that she was a powerful CEO of a fast-growing law firm. Fast forward 2 years, 2021 in February, right after COVID, she asked me to come be the keynote speaker at a luncheon that she did. And I went and I did, and I always eat after I speak. And she and I sat down at the table afterwards. Everybody else was gone. And I asked her how business was going. She reached over and patted me on the arm and said, oh my God, I've hired another paralegal. I've brought on a partner. I have an assistant. It's growing by leaps and bounds. Why is that? Because she got clear on who she was truly created to be and then learned the leadership principles, habits, and steps to step into that. We're running upon the end of our time. This has been Carol's Intuitive Entrepreneur Show. If you're out there and you're ready to get unstuck, listen, I don't think you're stuck. I think you're stubborn. How do I know? Because I've been there. We all want to use the excuse stuck. And it's not that you don't have the resources. You're not willing to be resourceful. There's a big difference. We can talk about that on another day. Reach out, book a call with me. I do custom packages. Let's see what it looks like for us to work together to get you from where you are, stuck in your jar, to where you really want to be, where you really want to go. This is Carol Boston. right? And I always talk about courage to confidence. If you have a little bit of courage, and I know you do, reach out. Ask for the support that you get to have in order to go where you want to go, because no leader has ever done it alone. Come back next week. I don't know who the guests are going to be yet, but we always have great guests and we always have fun. I'm looking forward to seeing you then. Until then, blessings to each and every one of you. Make it a great day. Make it a great week, and go in peace.
The Intuitive Entrepreneur Show is hosted by Max and Janetta Jones and is brought to you by Life Coaching Today magazine, empowering your health, business, community, and life. This has been a production of True Awesome Life Productions, who asked, what does your true awesome life look like? Start that journey today at trueawesomelife.com. For more information